Rick Trotman. I'm the president and CEO of Barksdale Capital. We are an explorer in the United States of America and the state of Arizona. So I'll be talking about a couple of things that well, you probably shouldn't rely on as investment advice. So here's the warning. You're all prepared. So what is Barksdale? We are a base metal exploration company with a series of assets in a very exciting exploration district that includes a very large Tier 1 asset that most of you may have heard about. This is high-grade exploration. We have very strong backers and a pretty full treasury at this point, so we're not here raising money. We're looking to inform people about our company. That way they might be able to get in on the action. And we have a strong management team. Hopefully you'll feel that I'm strong after this. So a little bit about the company before I talk about the assets. We've got a relatively tight share structure, about 44 million shares outstanding. I think today's stock price ended at about 46 cents, so $19–20 million Canadian company. We got $3.5 million of cash in the register, and we have quite a strong backer group, including Osisko Gold Royalties, which owns 15% of the company, as well as Tech Resources, which owns 10%. Add in management and board, which is around 9%, and some other funds and whatnot. And we've probably got 60 to 70% of the stock in very well suited hands. About the team, my name is Rick. I come from both a geologic background as well as private equity. So I spent 6 years with resource capital funds, helping them build up their exploration investment portfolios. I've added a number of folks in the mix that have years of mine finding experience, as well as a growing experience level on the board for folks that will help us ultimately crystallize value here. So why are you here? Why is the company exploring for what we're exploring for? We are in southern Arizona. At the bottom of the page is the Mexican border. Our projects are in what is known as the Patagonia district. So this is copper mining country. We have a lot of copper in this district, but primarily it's a zinc district. So this is a bit of a zoom in. As you can see here, the district is anchored by South 32, which owns all the property in blue, and Barksdale owns all the property in green. So we've been bolting on assets in this district because it's quite a valuable district. South 32 bought their entry into this district for $2 billion in cash last year. And we have been slowly accumulating for about 18 months. Now, the reason that we're here, and the reason that it's so exciting, is that there's a Tier 1 deposit that basically straddles two properties, South 32's, which is in blue, and Barksdale's, which is in green. As you can see, this big monster 150 million ton deposit of lead, zinc, and silver basically stops at the property boundary. What we're looking to explore is the green area between the Sunnyside porphyry, outlined in yellow, and the footprint of the Taylor deposit, outlined in white. And we think, based on the geology, that there's no reason that there should be a break between the edge of that porphyry and the property boundary. And that's the effective value proposition here. So as you can see, we think that the Sunnyside porphyry was the source of all the mineralization that we see in this district. The Taylor deposit is a carbonate replacement deposit. And we think that the Sunnyside porphyry on the western side of the Taylor deposit was that source of fluids that created the zinc, lead, and copper, silver mineralization. The discovery holes were actually drilled on our side of the property in the 1980s. But it wasn't until a couple of years ago where Arizona Mining basically connected the dots between oxide mineralization at surface to the east and the sulfide mineralization to the west. As you can see here, we've got some really high intercepts on our side. 17 meters of 17% combined lead zinc, 337 grams silver. Another intercept of 38 meters of 15% combined lead zinc, 229 grams silver. So we know that what we're exploring for is high grade. And next door, more importantly, and I'll get to that next slide, they're building a mine. So this is a bit of a cartoon, just outlining what we think is going on here. And as you can see, the Sunnyside porphyry, which is outlined in red, is a bit too deep to be considered viable as an open pit. But it was the source of fluids that created that pink zone which is the skarn and carbonate replacement zone, which goes all the way up to surface. So in effect, what we have here is one continuous zone of mineralization that goes from the edge of the porphyry all the way to the surface. What we have to do is delineate how much is on our side of the fence. So South 32 has had a $90 to $100 million budget this year. They've got twin decline access into the ore body. They've got a water filtration plant, and they've built a lined tailings facility to relocate some historic tailings that were mined in the 1910s, 20s, and 30s. So all of this is going on immediately next door. So they're effectively building the head frame of which we're going to be in the shadow of. The more recent addition to our portfolio is San Antonio. We acquired this deposit from Teck Resources this summer. San Antonio has a really exciting porphyry opportunity on it. Most of the property is covered by thin gravels, so anywhere between 10 and 30 meters of gravel. And so what is known as the Cosmos porphyry target is effectively a geophysical anomaly. Coincident gravity, IP, and magnetic data suggest that there's a porphyry in the shallow subsurface. And the gravels would have explained why none of the old prospectors would have touched this area in the past. So we're very excited to see this. And, you know, this block of orange claims that's just south and a bit west of that target, that's an old skarn camp. And so there's 500,000 tons of lead, zinc, copper, and silver mineralization that was mined from that in the turn of the last century. We think that that mineralization could have been driven by the porphyry, if it does indeed exist at Cosmos. So kind of a role reversal of what we're seeing up at Sunnyside. Porphyry on the east here, skarn camp on the west. And so that gives us another layer of evidence and really excites us about the prospects of San Antonio. Four Metals is the last project that we have in the district, and it's a breccia pipe that's sticking up out of the ground. So it's probably, depending on what kind of historic polygonal resource you want to believe, anywhere between 20 and 40 million tons of 0.5% copper. It's a breccia body, so it's going to be relatively confined in terms of its size extent. But where Four Metals could become really interesting is if San Antonio turns out to be a legitimate porphyry discovery. Four Metals is just a couple of kilometers due west along a road, so it could become a satellite operation. So we are continually checking the boxes, so to speak. We're positioning this company to have great success. We've raised $5.3 million from really great backers this year, which, you know, those two groups, Osisko and Teck, cumulatively own 25% of the company. We've doubled our land position in a very exciting district where we know that there's been value creation and crystallization in the past year, and we think that both Sunnyside and San Antonio are going to help us crystallize value for our shareholders. And with that, I'm in booth 6 in case anybody wants to follow up with additional detail, or you can reach out to myself or Terry Ann for additional information. Thank you.